Hashtag no music, no intro. We are back on the Saints Block Party podcast presented by Precious Works LLC. And currently the Saints have the number 4 overall pick in the 2026 draft. And Saints fans have been draft heavy on the mind almost since the season has started. So we wanted to have a episode where we're talking NFL draft, and we wanted to bring on someone's work who we are both fans of and has been killing it in the draft game recently. Cory Kinnan of Daft on Draft, and his Substack Daft on Draft is amazing. SBP, Saints Block Party Podcast, are subscribers of it. Like and subscribe Daft on Draft on YouTube. And Cory, thank you so much for coming on and talking ball with us. So Adam, joined by Ryan, and just give the people who may not know and familiar with your work, like your brief history in the draft scouting game.
Yeah, so basically all started out of boredom, to be completely honest. I was getting my master's program at the University of Dayton, and I was in my last semester, and I was just like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to use this degree that I'm like in my last semester on. And so like, I just took my laptop to every class that last semester and was just like, back then, not that Bleacher Report isn't the same now, but Bleacher Report used to like aggregate everything and centralize everything, and it was really easy to read everything. And I just have Bleacher Report open, just like reading NFL news, NFL draft news, anything. And then so like it eventually got to the point where like it was the spring, and it was like my last year of grad school would have been the Kaiser, Trubisky, Mahomes, Watson year. So
2017.
17, yeah. So like I just like started opening up Excel spreadsheets in class and like writing out mock drafts in class because I was so bored, and I was like, I don't want to be here. I just want to graduate, get out of here, whatever. I'm not going to quit. It's my last semester. And then it just kind of devolved from there. So then I graduated, obviously. And then when you're not in school anymore and you're an adult, you have so much time on your hands. And I was like, well, what do I want to do with all this free time? So I just picked it up. I just started messing around with it. You know, back then people were cutting up every single player on YouTube and making these awesome YouTube cut-ups back in the day that you could watch. So I was just grinding a lot of YouTube cut-ups, and it's just kind of evolved from there. You know, you start networking with people in the industry, you start getting access to all 22, you start getting better at it just by spending time doing it. And so, you know, that's just been kind of my motto, is like, I'm just going to keep getting better at it every year and just kind of keep after it. So started out of boredom, you know, 6 years later, we're still here. Now it's kind of, you know, it's become a brand. I've started my own site. It's kind of just grown into me. So, yeah.
That's awesome, man. I love hearing those stories. It's, you know, it's similar just like me and Adam, you know, just content creators and stuff like that. And you kind of just fall into it. It's not like some grand master plan that you sit and write down the outline like, oh, this is what I'm gonna do. It just kind of happens organically. And I love to hear that. So you've been in the games, about since 2017, really going at it. Me and Adam, we probably been going at it since the mid 2000s.
Yeah, it's been a while. We will say though, like as we've gotten older, the amount that we give into the drafts and breaking down prospects, it's just not the same. Like
it's not the same. Life be lifing, bro. Like we used to pay attention to like the whole draft.
Yeah,
breaking down round 1 through 7, looking at small school players, just sickos, looking at every other team. Now it's just like we're focused on the Saints. You know, what are the Saints needs and stuff like that. So, but we still have 2 rounds of that's it. Two rounds. Can't go no more. Okay. But it's still fun. I still love the process of just team building and just trying to figure out like how can a team really get better? And the NFL is like just the perfect sport to watch because you really see it happen in live. You know, live. Like look at the Patriots. You know, the Patriots literally were picking 4th overall last year.
Yeah.
Just a terrible looking team, terrible, and just in one season been able to flip it, and now it looks like they might be the 1 seed. You know, they look like they have, you know, Super Bowl contender DNA to them. Just that quick, just from, you know, some nice drafts, a couple free agent pickups, head coaching, of course, and obviously the big centerpiece, the quarterback.
You hit on the quarterback,
right.
It's game over. Yeah.
You get that right.
Must be nice.
Everything else must be nice, bro.
Listen, man, I'm a Browns fan. I've been a Browns fan my whole life. So 33 years of my life, and I've seen way more than 33 quarterbacks in my 33 years. So, it's been...
Yeah, but, like, even to that point, like, even the draft of Browns, even though they haven't hit on the quarterback, the players that they drafted with, like, Mason Graham, Carson Schlesinger, Harold Fanning, it's funny because
Jenkins,
all of them. We talked to almost the entire draft class, either at the Senior Bowl or at the Combine, and their draft, like, that is such a strong foundation, that they have, and then obviously they still need the quarterback, which is the biggest piece. But the reason why I wanted to kind of get you on is the type of, like, your work ethic, what you're putting in reminds me very similar of, like, Matt Harmon way back in the day before Matt Harmon blew up, John Shipley when he was, now he's covering the Jags. So that's kind of like our era, what we've come up from. And I kind of see that same, desire and hunger and knowledge from you. And so I was like, man, let's get Cory on. Let's talk Saints draft and break it down. So
I appreciate that.
No, much love, brother. Let's start with the most interesting thing that, Ryan and I have kind of talked about is, and we talked about it on our podcast in terms of what we've heard, kind of sources, is that going into the season, the Saints didn't really have any inkling or desire to look into quarterbacks for the 2026 draft class. They were kind of happy just rolling out Rattler, Shuck. And that was their plan before the season. That was most of their plan throughout the season. Then there became like this little, once they benched Rattler, and then before Shuck started against the Rams, the internal vibe of the building was like, we don't think Shuck is going to be good. Like, that's what the team thought. And he's been surprisingly, it's been 2 starts, but he's been decent to, like, okay, maybe we can rock with him and be like, maybe he can be a starter for a season for us. So they kind of have now gone back to, we don't need potentially a quarterback high in the draft. But let's sticking with the quarterbacks. If they were to, there's the conundrum is Fernando Mendoza, there's Ty Simpson and Dante Moore, which with the last 2, it's going to be so interesting to see if they even declare. Like, that's the whole thing with both of them. But you have been on the Fernando Mendoza train early. Just a quick bit of the 3 quarterbacks that potentially are going to be at the top of the draft class.
Yeah, so I'll start with Mendoza because that's been my guy since April. I mean, the Monday after the draft, I was like, I need to drop this piece. The Monday after the draft, I'm going to get way out in front of this. And I dropped a piece on how I thought he would be the big riser of this quarterback class. And he came into the season as my QB1. Everybody was writing out like the seniors, and some of it deservedly so with like the Drew Aller, Garrett Nussmeier stuff, right? But I was like, this guy, especially coming off of last year's class where I wasn't very high on any of the big 3 of Ward, Dart, Sanders, right? I mean, Sanders has turned out not to be out of the big 3 because he was drafted in the 5th round, but like those were the big 3 names that people were talking about. And then so coming out of that, where it's just like I didn't really love any of them, including Ward, who went first overall. And I turned on Mendoza's tape because he kind of caught my eye in the season. I was like, I'll start with him, whatever. And immediately it hit me like, this is a palate cleanser. Like, this is like. This is a palate cleanser to me because he's doing stuff pre-snap where he's seeing stuff pre-snap, and he's able to count guys in the box and know, like, I've got 5 in protection. There's 7 guys in the box. So I'm gonna have a free runner from somewhere. I got to know where my hot's at, right? And he's getting the ball out fast, and so like that kind of stuff. And again, you just, I mean, if you've heard the guy talk, you can tell he's really smart too. But I mean,
yes.
So like his 2 offers coming out of high school were Yale. He was committed to Yale. And then UC Berkeley came in late. 2 schools that are not very easy to get into
right.
academically. So like those were the 2 offers that he had. So he's wicked smart as well.
Yes.
And again, you just hear him talk and you see him play and how quick he is to get the ball out and some of the creative answers he's finding in a very timely manner with the football. Like early in the season, he hit that cover 2 hole shot and just like flipped his hips and instantly threw that ball 30 yards opposite hash into a cover 2 hole shot. And it's like, you saw that instantly.
And that's an NFL throw.
Big time NFL throw.
Big time.
So like
big time.
he's got the arm. The arm is there. So you got the wits, you got the arm. To me, this. He's in like the Matt Ryan, Kirk Cousins mold of quarterback. Yep. You're not going to get a ton of creative stuff outside of structure with him. They will run some read options with him, right? And I think his linear explosiveness is good. His linear speed is good. But again, he's 6'5", 225 pounds. So the ability that speed turn isn't there, right? He's not going to stick his foot in the ground and go. It's going to take him a little bit of time to get his momentum built up. But the accuracy is spectacular. The arm talent is A minus. I wouldn't put it in like an elite tier like Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, kind of Anthony Richardson tier by any means, but A minus. Matt Ryan is just kind of the comp that I've wrote out for him to this point is, a very smart processor, gets the ball out where it needs to go on time and very accurately, and then finds those creative solutions when he's kind of stacked against the wall. And I think another thing that really sticks out to me about Mendoza, even going back to Cal tape, I mean, we've seen it three times this year already. Back against the wall in the fourth quarter, he's pulling his team down the field and scoring. So, the Oregon game, he throws that bad pick six off his back foot, right? Immediately comes back and leads the scoring drive to retake the lead. The Iowa game, they got to fight back late in that game. Iowa's got a really good defense. I mean, you've seen it against Dante Moore, you've seen it against Mendoza, you've seen it against USC this past week, and they punch people in the mouth defensively.
Yes.
He throws an interception in that game. They fight back late. He throws a seam ball with taking a shot to the chin, and he throws a game-winning touchdown in that game. And then the Penn State game just a couple weeks ago does the same thing. Like wills that team 80 yards down the field to win that game as well, including another seam ball getting shot in the chin, a bender route where he bends the ball around the hook curl defender against a 3-high look, the Jim Knowles 3-high look. So he feeds that ball in there, and then the top shelf throw to Omar Cooper in the back of the end zone as well. So again, you go back to the Cal tape too. There's the NC State game and the Stanford game. If you go watch those games as well, he wills his team down the field in late game situations where they need a score to go ahead. And ends up winning the Stanford game on a post route. He gets popped in the chin on that one too. And then the NC State game, I think they missed like a 35-yard field goal or something like that. But he willed them all the way down the field into field goal range, and then they blow that game too. So these big moment opportunities are all over the tape for Mendoza as well.
You talk so well about him, and I watched when it was looking like the Saints were going to be picking number 1 overall and was going to head toward quarterback. I watched quite a bit of him to kind of get myself caught up, and I said that Mendoza reminded me of, as a prospect, of Tyler Shuck, but like Tyler Shuck being like a good prospect, like all the things that like people didn't like about Tyler Shuck as a prospect, like Mendoza does like all those things like very well. Like, and I was talking about this to Ryan. He's like that makes a lot of sense. And but stylistically, the Matt Ryan, someone even said like Sam Bradford, even though Sam Bradford was a little more athletic, like all in that range. It just and Kirk Cousins,
it's that same family,
same family of quarterback, absolutely.
Yep. That's what I would agree with that as well. The Shuck thing's interesting. It's like if Tyler Shuck hadn't been hurt his whole life and wasn't afraid to stand and take a hit every once in a while.
Right? Like it makes sense. Like, because stylistically, like they're both around their stature's about the same. They're both about 6'4", 6'5". Mendoza's accuracy,
linear speed,
accuracy is a lot better with Mendoza, but Shuck has like a bigger arm. Like it's like if you could take the things that Mendoza does well and put it into Shuck, or just combine the two, you'd have an exceptional quarterback prospect. But that said, Tyler Shuck has looked good or decent, at least in the first two games. So it's going to be so fascinating to see how these quarterbacks kind of play out, especially with Simpson and Moore, in terms of the decision that they're going to have at the end of the season of what they choose to do in terms of going pro or staying in college.
Yeah, for sure.
Tell me about Moore, like Dante Moore. I only watched like a bit of when they played. Who did they play? A couple of weeks ago. I can't remember who they played. I only watched a little. What's the overall feeling with him from your point of view?
I really like Dante Moore as well. To me, he's the cleanest of the three quarterbacks. I think I still like Mendoza's 1 for me. Moore would be 2 for me. But like if I were an NFL team, I could see how an NFL team could think it's the easiest to see with him in terms of the transition into the NFL.
Yes.
Like Oregon's running so many like 12 personnel, condensed sets, NFL stuff, boots, throwback concept. Like Mendoza's for as good as I think he is. The Indiana offense, like if you keep them on schedule and you don't force them into 3rd and longs, Mendoza's just going to sit there and rip RPOs into leverage all day. Like that's not NFL stuff, right? So like Moore is doing a lot of NFL IQ stuff, and his ball placement is really good. The arm is very good as well, and fundamentally, the mechanics are so clean. The feet are so clean. The throwing stuff is so clean. Very fluid thrower. Front shoulders tight. Ball comes out very smooth. And so, like, to me, Moore reminds me so much of the guy with the jersey I got on the back of my wall back here. Like, to me, it's like there's so many parallels to me between Dante Moore and 2022 CJ Stroud, even including the stuff like, again, it's prevalent to me because I live in Columbus, but like, there were so many people who were like, CJ, stop stepping up into the pocket and just run. You have so much grass, just run. Yep. And they would get so mad that he wouldn't just tuck the ball every once in a while and run. And then when he started to do it, it's like, wait, this guy's a pretty good athlete.
Yes.
Oregon's even starting to introduce some like quarterback run stuff, and Moore's proving to be a better athlete than I thought he was early in the season as well. I think it's very easy to see with Moore. And then, yeah, he's a little bit slim, like he's a little bit slender in terms of his frame, but he's also 6'3" and only 20 years old. So like, there is still a lot of room for some body development there as well, compared to like a guy like, you know, you look at Texas A&M's Marcel Reed, who's like 6 foot and 185 pounds. Like, how much bigger is that guy going to get?
Right.
Not a lot bigger. Like, there's not a lot of room to grow there compared to Dante Moore. So I think the body development in terms of how much bigger he can add, I think is still good without compromising some of the athleticism that I think is there as well. But man, just from a process standpoint, from a fundamental standpoint, he is very clean. He is very clean. And, you know, everybody keeps saying, well, he's not going to come out anyway. It's like, he's just one of those quarterbacks that's like, I'll believe it when I see it, because like I can see a top 10 pick when I see one. Like, I know a top 10 pick when I see one. And
yeah.
That's a top 10 pick. And like, you could tell me he's going to go back to school all you want. I'll believe it when I see it. And again, I mean, Oregon's got all that Phil Knight money, so they very well could make him an offer. He's only 20. They could very well make him an offer where he says, yeah, I'll go back. But it's like,
and the funny thing is, like, I could see the argument of like, okay, Browns are picking for a quarterback, Jets are picking for a quarterback. Do I want to come out right now? But then here's the thing: if you wait till next year, what's to say that the Browns and Jets aren't going to be picking high next year either?
But guess who also could be picking up there? The Los Angeles Rams, because they have the Falcons pick, who are going to be starting Kirk Cousins the rest of the year, and it's already the 8th overall pick, I think. Like,
Yeah, man, that's a huge.
You also could do that,
and you could see Dante Moore with Sean McVay. Like you could.
Same with Mendoza. Sure.
Same with Mendoza. Yeah, like
either two, both. Like either.
Yeah.
Ty Simpson is so fascinating just because the limited starts and everything, and I know he's kind of maybe, I won't say like maybe come down to earth these last 2 games, going against Oklahoma, and then was it Oklahoma, and then who did they play before?
LSU.
Yeah, Oklahoma was this past week, and then LSU the week before.
LSU, yeah. Right. He's someone that also is very interesting to see what he does come the end of the season. I heard that if him and his team thought that he was going to go top 2 and basically got like a top 2 guarantee, he would declare. What's your kind of seeing him and what he's done this year in terms of Ty Simpson?
Yeah. I've come down on Simpson because it's been more than just the past 2 weeks for me. Like, it's like been the past month for me where I've seen like, this isn't as good as it was when I was like, oh, this guy's running a tight ship, and this guy's getting the ball out, and this guy's threading some windows on some backside digs, some backside over, some backside sits. He's seen a lot of stuff, and he's thrown the ball. So with Simpson, the accuracy's really dropped over the past month or so.
Yeah, it has.
Man, he had that backside dig this past week against Oklahoma where he shot that ball probably 10 yards over the goal. And he had a clean pocket to step back up into and everything, and he really shot that thing. And then, like, his deep ball, again on my Substack, I have a charting metric where I chart literally every single throw for these guys.
Yep.
And I'm not looking for completions. I'm looking for ball placement and accuracy. So if the ball is on target and dropped, you get credit for it. If the ball is caught, but that receiver's got to go back across his body, or he's got to elevate over the middle of the field to go get it, like, I'm not giving that to you. Or like a screen pass, and you're taking the guy away from getting his body upfield right away and getting that ball. Like, screens need to be able to, your guys got to be able to catch that and get upfield. You can't be making them turn their hips, and exactly. So that's what I'm charting for, and with Ty Simpson, the deep ball is sub 50% on target. And I think what it really comes down to with Simpson, and the comparison that I've been using for this is like, you go to the combine or you watch the combine, and you can tell the difference between both two different athletes can both be 4.45 athletes, right? They could both run mid 4.4s.
Yep.
But you can tell the difference between a guy who really glides out of 4.45 and it looks really easy versus
struggling.
A guy who's got every freaking vein popping out of his neck on his way to running a 4.45.
Yes.
Like, he has trained all offseason just to hit that number. Like,
yes.
And to me, I would say that Ty Simpson and Dante Moore might have similar velocity on the football. But Dante Moore is very much a smooth 4.45. Like, again, a very much a smooth thrower of the football, where I feel like Ty Simpson is a strain thrower. Like, you see him twirling his hips into every single drive throw that he's got. And I think that's really affecting his ability to place the football where he wants it consistently. Like, if you've got to really put everything into every single throw, man, like, your control of it is gonna get a little wonky. And I think that's what we're seeing with Simpson. And that's, I mean, even in that Oklahoma game, he completed an opposite hash deep ball to Ryan Williams, and Ryan Williams caught the ball, right? But, like, I mean, that ball floated. I felt like it hung in the air for a good while.
Yeah, I know exactly which one you're talking about.
Yep.
Safety took a real bad angle on that, too. A safety takes a good angle on that ball's getting picked off. Like, the safety's angle ended up behind Ryan Williams. Like, if the safety takes a good angle, that ball's picked. Like, in NFL, 10 out of 10 times that ball's getting picked off. So, like, I've got some concerns with Simpson, but I will say Simpson, again, he sees the game really well. Pre-snap, he's got full control, and he's able to call his own protections. He's able to call his own checks. He addresses a defense really well, has a lot of man-to-zone indicators that he can read out really well, and he knows what he's doing post-snap, for the most part, to get his eyes in the right spot. So he's wicked smart, has full control of that offense pre-snap. And again, when he's on, he's on. And the ball comes out hot, and the ball comes out fast and on time. So I do think there's a lot to like. But again, this goes back to the body development thing too. I think my concern with Ty Simpson is, like, Ty Simpson is good, but I think that Ty Simpson's already scratching the ceiling of how good he could be.
Yeah,
makes sense. So I think that's the conversation that I'm kind of fighting myself with Ty Simpson. Is like,
and
how much room is there to get better?
And with super limited starts, like that's a and that's a whole nother conversation of, like, how important is starts in college, like, indicative. But, like, if you're an NFL team, if you have a limited number of starts and you are potentially already at your ceiling, like, I could see a lot of teams being like, I don't know.
Yeah. And I think the amount of starts, I think there's a lot of gray area with both Simpson and Moore, because you can say they're both pretty inexperienced, but I think there's a lot of gray area. For one, Simpson, as the second team quarterback, is a scout team quarterback, and you can make the argument that he's played against more NFL talent as a scout team quarterback than any of these quarterbacks have in life at Alabama.
And he's been
His
in a
dad's
long
also
time,
a Division I head coach. His dad's also a Division I head coach, so, like, there's all of that as well. And then with Moore, like, Moore was a first year starter. Moore did start right away at UCLA, his true freshman.
Yeah, he did.
And then I think, like, the thing that we don't get a lot of access to with these quarterbacks as well is the intangibles, like what it takes to lead a locker room and what it takes to lock in and be that guy, to go to work every day, grind out in the film room. But I think with Moore, you can get a glimpse with that and say, like, this guy was a true freshman starter, went to UCLA so he could start immediately, and then made the decision, like, maybe I'm not there. Maybe I shouldn't be. And he decided to transfer to Oregon and sit behind the most experienced college quarterback in college football history, in Dylan Gabriel. Like, he said, maybe I need to go take a beat. Let me go sit here at Oregon, learn from Dylan, soak it in a little bit, and then I'll take the reins again. And that's what he did. And
super self-aware.
Awesome. So, like, super self-aware, that kind of intangible thing. So, like, to me, I get a glimpse of that with Moore as well. Same with Simpson. Like, I could see it with Simpson because of all the pre-snap and the control he has and the respect he's got of that offense. And then Mendoza, it's easy to see as well with the width and how smart that dude is. So, like, you can see it with these guys. I could see, like, but to me, Simpson feels like that guy that goes first round because a quarterback knows they have a competitive roster and they need a quarterback right now. Like the Patriots taking Mac Jones 15th overall. Like, I'm trying to think of another good example, but, like, where, like, you just place it, like, to me, this would be like the Steelers, who are, like, good, and they're going to end up picking, like, in the 20s because they're going to win enough games. Aaron Rodgers is playing some really bad football right now.
Yes.
But they're a good enough roster to win some games, and they might say, like, listen, man, let's just throw Simpson in here and see if we can roll with it.
Drop him. Yeah.
Like, Mike Tomlin's been there forever. He doesn't want to mess with dealing with another Kenny Pickett situation. He doesn't want to mess with the situation where he's got to deal with a rookie quarterback. And I think that's kind of the case with, like, Bill Belichick as well. Like, that dude was like 70 when they drafted Mac Jones. Like, just give me somebody I don't have to baby, that knows what he's going to do, and I can throw in here day one. Like, even if the ceiling is kind of we are scraping the ceiling, like, let's just see what we can do. Keep the competitive window open as long as possible, as long as I'm going to be here, and let's roll.
Right.
Yeah.
One thing I love that you do on your website is, you do actually chart the quarterbacks yourself. You're not like depending on any of these analytic services, PFF, which is fine to use those, but you like to go in there yourself and get an eye on it, chart them yourself, weight them yourself, which is just impressive. So I urge people to, go to your website and check out your stuff. You actually chart live. You do the videos and you chart live. That's crazy.
Insane.
That's insane. Like when I'm watching tape, I like to I don't want nobody watching. Like because I got my own little process that I do.
You get shy. You don't want no voyeurs.
I'm just shy. I don't want nobody looking over my shoulder. I got my own process. I do it how I do it. You know what I'm saying? And it's nowhere to the level of what you do. So I'm curious. Like, what gets you going with quarterback prospects? Because everybody kind of has their own little flavor.
Yes,
that they like. Like, that's my type of quarterback. What's your type of quarterback that makes me going?
So I think there's a threshold with arm talent that you have to be passable in the NFL, right? But I think that we went through this swing because of Mahomes and Allen in consecutive years, 2017, 2018, where everybody's like, we need to just draft the guy with the biggest arm and the best athletic tools, and then we can work on the rest. Yep. And I think we ended up drafting, sorry for my language, but some dog shit quarterbacks doing that.
Oh, you can say whatever you want to say on this podcast.
I think we went through, and that's no disrespect to these quarterbacks, but 2022, we went through an entire process of talking about how Malik Willis was the best quarterback in this draft, besides the fact that he was running Hugh Freeze's juvenile ass offense and couldn't do anything other than look for a backside nine or scramble with the football. Would not read a concept out. And so I think we went through this phase of nope, you got to take the shot on tools. And I think with Sellers, we got there a little bit this year as well. Although I think Sellers is a little more structured than people want to give him credit for, even if the timer needs a lot of work still. But he's going to go back to school anyway. But for me, man, I want those crisp, clean pocket passers, those guys who know what they're looking at pre-snap, post-snap, get the ball out, and when they see something where they can take a hot or take an alert, they take it. You give them a backside post, even though concept is 3x1, you're and the concept's to the 3-man side. If you're going to give them that backside chunk, they're gonna have the gall, the arm talent, the arm arrogance to take it as well. I see that with Mendoza. One of my favorite quarterbacks of all time to evaluate has been the guy with the jersey behind me. CJ Stroud is one of my all-time favorite quarterbacks to evaluate ever, because he's one of those very smart, accurate, gutsy quarterbacks. Again, if he sees a running back trying to turn and run the pole up the seam with his back turn, he's going to throw at the guy's back. That kind of quarterback those are the kind of guys that I really love to watch.
It's always interesting as people who break down film and prospects of what are the things that truly get them going. I know for this position specifically, the kind of transitioning, because we could talk quarterbacks all day. I'm gonna read you this current wide receivers currently on the Saints. This is their depth chart. Okay.
I had an idea. Yeah.
Chris Olave, Devon Bailey, Mason Tipton, Kevin Austin Jr.
Yeah.
After Rashichi, he got traded and Brandon Cooks got waived because he doesn't want to be on a shitty team. Getting into the tight ends, Jawan Johnson and Jake Stoll. Running backs, Devin Neal and an aging AK. Cory, when I tell you that this team needs juice,
skill players,
in the worst fucking way. We have been chanting and hoping for juice for so long. Oh, I forgot about Kendre Miller, who tore his ACL.
He's
but
hurt,
that's the Kendre experience. So since we've been fans, or not since, but the Saints drafted Chris Olave in the first round, 2022. Mm-hmm. Before that, their other right receiver they drafted first round was Brandon Cooks in 2014, and they drafted Michael Thomas in the second round, which would have been 2016.
That's it.
Talk to me about Chris Bell, Jordan Tyson, Malachi Lemon. I need to know. I need something. I need to feel something again, Cory.
Yeah. So the Saints are I think are a sneaky trade down target, snack up some assets. I think
should be, because right now they're picking four.
Yeah, and they built up the offensive line. I feel like I guess they just traded Trevor Penning, but I mean, you hit on Banks, you hit on Fuaga. That's a solid place to start. So I think the conversation starts with, if we're talking top pick wide receiver, right? Then the conversation starts with Jordan Tyson and Carnell Tate, another Ohio State wide receiver. Yep. So with Jordan Tyson, he's very electric, very elusive, very clean route runner, and very good hands. With Jordan Tyson as well, he has had a collarbone injury. He has had it's a hamstring injury. He is constantly hurt. I do wonder how the medicals come back on Jordan Tyson because, I mean, even going back to his USC days, dude's been hurt a lot. Dude was hurt last year for Arizona State, had the collarbone injury. Dude's missed games this year for Arizona State. Like, it's just like, how much of this is going to come back? And then, like, I think Tyson and Olave have a lot of very similar skill sets, like that slot Z versatility, a lot of overlap. And again, you can make two slot Z versatile guys work because, you know, you can run a lot of crossers. You can line one guy up inside, one guy up outside. You could flip him. So there's a lot you can do there. But to me, I feel like Carnell Tate would be a good fit with the Saints, complementing that slot Z versatility of you know, a dominant ball winner at X, who's going to go up at the catch point. Also, Carnell Tate is very smooth. Carnell Tate is probably a 4.5 athlete. Like, I don't think he's a dynamic burner by any means, but like, I think a lot of the movement skill stuff and a lot of the ways that he plays reminds me a little bit of CeeDee Lamb, who also like has a lot of slot versatility as well. And I don't know if Carnell Tate has that much slot versatility to really be able to leverage both inside out, break off, and on a dime, and, you know, not give up which way he's cutting at the top of his routes. I don't think he's that fluid as CeeDee Lamb or that dominant as CeeDee Lamb or that smooth. But Carnell Tate's a smooth mover. And then at the end of the day, a dominant ball winner down the field. So I think that would be a really good fit. If we move into, like, say the Saints do trade down for whatever reason, or even trade back up into the 20s from the second round, I think that's where we can, if they trade down into like the teens to late teens, maybe early 20s, we could talk about Mekhi Lemon as well, the USC receiver. And I think that the place to start that conversation is to identify how dominant Amon-Ra, St. Brown, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. Early season of Emeka Egbuka, it's kind of trailed off here with Baker Mayfield's play kind of declining a little bit as well. And I think Mike Evans going out has also impacted his ability to get some targets. But that mold of, the really refined route runner, really smooth athlete, not overly dynamic, explosive, but they know how to win, and they have good vision with the ball in their hands as well after the catch. Like that ability to transition from a receiver to a ball carrier. Yeah. Mekhi Lemon is very much in that same mold of Smith and Jigba, as Amon-Ra, as Emeka Egbuka. Again, another probably 4.5 athlete. It wouldn't shock me if you ran like a 4.47, 4.48, a high 4.4, but like not an overly explosive athlete, but smooth. Again, really strong at the catch point, given his stature as well. And so, like, I can't get the thought out of my head as like, why don't we just start drafting these guys then? If these are the guys that are dominating the NFL, then let's start drafting these guys. Right. Chris Bell is a little more volatile at Louisville, but he's also ungodly explosive, and he's in a 6'1" and 227-pound frame. So the guy's built like A.J. Brown, and he's gonna run a 4.4, probably like a 4.42. Ungodly explosive.
At his
Louisville
size,
will give him shallow crosses and slants, and not only is he a bully against press man, against like on those quick slants, like you could go watch him just push dudes off the line of scrimmage against press man and catch slants like with 5 yards of separation. But he will house them, and he will house those shallow crossers and take them 40 yards down the field because he's got that explosive.
Why isn't he more highly thought of? Like,
he's kind of a body catcher, and he's got some volatile hands a little bit. I've heard it from some people close to some scouts who are in that area as well, that Louisville has maybe some concerns about some maturity issues, like some issues about like, is he locked in 100% of the time, some stuff like that. But even at that 6'1", 227, you watch him run a comeback as well. He's snapping those things off. You watch his stems, man. Like, he is twitched up and sudden at 227 as well, which is pretty rare. So, like, if you get a consistent Chris Bell every single time, this is a really dominant receiver.
I can see the Saints, just how they do things, just how they think. They're like, oh, we have Tyler Shuck here at quarterback. Tyler Shuck played with Chris Bell at Louis. Like, it just like, I just know how this team thinks so much, and I can see and I'm not saying that he would be drafted like in the top 10, but it wouldn't surprise me at all. Like, with that being their logic, if they're rolling with Shuck in 2026, that they give him his former college teammate.
Yeah, I think Brugler had him at like 31 on his most recent top 50, I think. So like, we're talking back end first round to early second round there with Bell. So like, yeah, very possible. But I'm a huge Chris Bell fan. He came into the season as my wide receiver 2. I mean, I'd probably have him still top 5, but I think it's a really good receiver class. We're talking about some really good dudes in this class.
Please, we need all of them. Please. How about like running back? I mean, I know about Jeremiah Love, but like who else like at running back has been kind of shining this year? That
it's not last year's class. Not last year's
I figured
class.
that.
I mean, last year's class was the year to get one if you needed one.
Oh, we know.
I mean, it's Jeremiah Love in the field. I mean, right now, we might be talking about Jadarian Price, who is the other Notre Dame running back, as the second best running back in this class.
Damn,
I just watched for inside the film room that's going up on my Substack tomorrow. The Nebraska running back Emmett Johnson, who had like 200 total yards last week against UCLA, but like. I also have a bias. I have a very like body type bias at running back, and it's like I want all of the muscle. Like if you don't have quads that I can see on tape, I don't want to draft you. Like straight up, like. And I just feel like there's so many running backs on tape that are 5'11" and 200 pounds with chicken legs, and it's like, dude, I don't want to draft you. I'm really sorry. Like it's Jeremiah Love. Jadarian Price has a nice body type too, but outside of that, it's like. These guys aren't running through contact. These guys aren't really dominant.
Yeah, I like them thick, man. I like
give me a muscle hamster. Give me a good muscle hamster. Just like the Ashton Jinsey types, the Quinshon Judkins types. Those like give me a guy that's gonna run through somebody's face, man. Like that's kind of what I want. And there's really not in this class. Like if you ask me today who my running back 2 is, I don't have an answer for you. It's Jeremiah Love, and after that, it's just like.
Good Lord.
I don't know, man. Let's talk after the combine. Let's see how these guys test. Like, because to me, it's just like the rest of the group is a dime a dozen. Is how it just feels to me right now.
With how high the Saints are picking, I'd be remiss if we didn't talk to you about Ruben Bain of Miami, Reese of Ohio State, who is my draft bay. Oh my god! And I'm not trying to do this for Texas Tech like biased, but there's still David Bailey in there too.
Yeah,
this team has drafted so many edge rushers over the years: Marcus Davenport, Peyton Turner, Isaiah Foskey, and it's just been bad. I've watched a lot of Ruben Bain because it would make so much sense for them to draft him. Me and Ryan have also not been great when it's come lately to like assessing and watching and being right on edge rushers, because we've been wrong on Jared Verse. We've been wrong on, I don't know who else we've been wrong. Oh, Garrett Russo. Those are the two that kind of come to mind.
Even guys like Nick Scorton. Remember we were like, Nick Scorton. And he's like looking good for the Panthers, man.
We were right on Latu, thankfully. Like we were on Latu. But with Ruben Bain, like I watch him and I see the appeal, but there's other things about him. Like, is he going to test well? He looks kind of hulking. Like, that probably just could be tied to just us as fans of this, as Saints fans, just getting spurned by edge selections over these last couple of years too. So that may play a factor into it. But what are your thoughts on these highly talented edge rushers? Yeah.
So if I read off to you a pass rusher who is 6'4", 287 pounds, ran a 4.7 640, only jumped 31 inches, and a 9'9" broad jump, what would you say?
That's a end of the first round or high second round pick, depending on his production and the competition he went against.
What if I told you that was Cameron Jordan?
Yeah,
he was that's 27th overall. Boom.
Yeah, 24th overall. Yeah, so. To me, like with Cameron Jordan, like how many more years does Cameron Jordan have? Does he have another year?
This probably
is it. Should be it.
If the Saints want to take an edge rusher early, I think that Ruben Bain makes a lot of sense. Now, Cameron Jordan has 35-inch arms. Ruben Bain's probably I think I might have the verifieds on me. Give me 1 second here, but I think they're like 32.5. So they're not anywhere near. I don't have he's an underclassman. I don't have the verifieds on me.
That comp makes so much sense because I think Jordan. Someone mentioned it earlier in the season, and it made a lot of sense to me too.
So, do I think that he's going to run a 4.5? No. Like, he might run a 4.69 to 4.7 flat. That wouldn't shock me. Maybe a little bit. Maybe like a 4.68. but I think that 10-yard split's going to be up there. I think he's going to have a good 10-yard split. But he's really flexible for his size, even though he's a little bit denser, a little more stocky of a pass rusher. I think he can take the outside track pretty well, and he can condense his surface area pretty well. But again, the guy's got heavy hands. The guy's really destructive.
That's huge too.
In the run game. So like at some point, yeah, we can evaluate like all these like secondary and peripheral traits about a guy. Like, yeah, he's kind of stocky, kind of short in the arms, but like he's explosive.
He is.
He can still win the outside track. And
tenacious as hell too.
Tenacious.
That's huge.
And to me, it's like, if I want to look at maybe a wide receiver overthink that I just recently had, it's like Tet McMillan. Yeah, Tet McMillan doesn't really separate that well on the vertical plane, and Tet McMillan has he had like 31-inch arms, I think, 32-inch arms, despite being 6'5", and like, well, how well does that body type and that kind of skill set really work at the NFL level? But like, I don't know, this guy really separates really well underneath, despite being that, and this guy's getting out of breaks really well, despite being that big. Maybe I should have thought about that, and this guy's still winning at the catch point really well, despite only having these short arms, these stubby arms. So like, to me, it's kind of that same thing. It's like, but the tape's really good. So I would still be pretty in on Ruben Bain. As far as David Bailey is a really dynamic pass rusher, but a really big net negative against the run. Like that guy, he gets pretty blown off the ball in the run game. Doesn't really, but when you let him pin his ears back, man. If you want an edge rusher that's going to run a 4.4, that guy's going to run a freaking 4.4. Like that guy as an edge rusher. Right. And I think I had a scout tell me his weight's up to like, I think 247 is what they said. Wow. Is what they told me. And like probably like 34.5-inch arms is what scouts were saying. Now, they don't have verified measures on him because he was a spring transfer portal guy. Right. So he wasn't at Texas Tech when the NFS scouts came through and did all of those measurements that this past offseason. So we don't have him. But scouts have been told me they're estimating right around 34.5 on his arms. Really nuanced pass rush attack and ungodly explosive. And so like, we've seen these pass rush specialists get drafted high. Leatu Latu.
Yep.
Is Leatu Latu a good run defender? God, no. But like the guy gets after it as a pass rusher, and in his second season now he's kind of putting it together here for a little bit with the Colts. So like those guys still get drafted high. So that's kind of where I'd be with David Bailey as well.
Yeah, I was just going through the all 22 of just like the top 10 pass rushers so far this season. The guys who lead in pressures, quick pressures, sacks, all that stuff. Just trying to see, like, how do they win? Like, how are these guys winning? Mm-hmm. And it seems like just most guys win. Like, you got to be good in power. Like, you got to be able to power through. Like, those guys that are just kind of tweeners that can only win with speed, you just don't see them win much, man. Like, you got to have a power dynamic to your rush. Obviously, speed and get off is like, number one, of course.
Paramount.
But if you don't have that power to you, and I think that's probably what I've been missing in my like evaluations in the past, where I put like a high value on just like twitchiness and all that stuff. I want bend and all that stuff. I'm looking for all that. But man, those guys, it might be boring watching them snap after snap, just try to power guy. But those are the guys that's like winning in the NFL, and also tenaciousness. Like most of the sacks and big plays come like 3.5 seconds.
Will Anderson just made an insane play on Thursday Night Football with his tenaciousness.
Just
I was just about to say, like, look at the last two NFL Defensive Rookie of the Years. It's Will Anderson and Jared Verse, two guys who will run through your face.
Yep.
Who will long arm you and bull rush you straight back into the quarterback. So
we can close with our draft bay, Arvell
Reese,
of Ohio State. The Saints are fourth right now, picking Ryan, and I think they'll probably be picking anywhere between like 4 and 7 when the season ends. Right? If they're picking below 4, I don't think they have a chance at Reese. He's everything that the Saints need defensively in terms of explosion, tenacity, a dog. But do you worry? And I want like your thoughts on. Do you worry about maybe the tweenerness that comes with him, or do you think that'll transition just fine for him? Because to me, he's basically
6'4" and 235 pounds. Like that's a freaking alien.
He's what people wanted Jalen Walker to be.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that. To me, I think we're in those same conversations that we had with Micah Parsons. And again, Micah Parsons is a little bit different because Micah Parsons only has like 31-inch arms. But again, Micah Parsons is ungodly powerful, flexible, explode, like the full package. Like, I think we can have those same conversations about Arvell Reese, except this guy's got 34 3/4 to 34-inch arms. So, like, I mean, you watch him play at play at the second level and step down and take a guard on head on and ragdoll him. You watch him play Sam and set an edge against an offensive tackle and just stick his arm out and set an edge and completely like ragdoll.
I need it, man.
You see him come off the edge as a pass rusher and work power through the chest, and it's And now you're even starting to see him like this guy's dropping into coverage a little bit, and he's doing more than just sit and hook curl. So like, and then how he originally popped onto the scene was the Texas game. Almost exclusively was spying Arch Manning. And triggering on Arch Manning and closing on Arch Manning and wreaking havoc. So like
coffee house blitzes and all that.
You put this guy anywhere you want to. So like there's going to be this debate of, well, is he a linebacker or is he an edge rusher? Like we had these same freaking conversations about Micah Parsons, and look how he's doing just fine. Now again, Micah Parsons is pretty exclusively an edge rusher now, but like maybe that could be Arvell Reese too, and he's got the tools to be a really freaking good one if that's what you want to do. I'm going to scout him as a linebacker, but again, we see these linebackers who do a little bit of everything anyway at the NFL, and it like, to me, this is much different than like an Isaiah Simmons situation where that guy legitimately didn't have a position. Arvell Reese has two positions that he's really good at. So I think it's a completely different situation. The guy's a freaking alien. He's the number one player on my board right now. An unbelievably dominant football player. So yeah, and again, a redshirt sophomore and 21 years old.
Is he a redshirt sophomore?
Yes,
what?
He's a redshirt sophomore.
The Lord. I thought he was a junior. Jesus Christ.
He is 20 years old. He turns 21 in August. So he'll be legally allowed to drink during training camp of his rookie season.
Wow, insane. Well, I know what I want on draft night. We'll see if it happens.
So the Saints would at least, at worst, they would need the number 3 overall pick, right?
I would say top 3.
Well, I think what's going to happen here, because again, right now as it's slated, the Titans and the Saints are slated to pick 1 and 2. Both those teams, again, if the Saints aren't going to draft a quarterback, both those teams are going to be in a position to bid with the Browns, Raiders, Jets, maybe even Rams for that pick. Like,
come get it,
teams. This is a year to come up and get it. Like, this is the year to come up and get a guy, because there's 2 quarterbacks. Again, I talked about Mendoza and more ad nauseum. I would feel really good about coming up to get either one of those guys. So
the issue the Saints have is we play both the Titans and the Jets.
Yeah, I mean, what they have going in their favor is the Browns and the Raiders play this week, so one of those teams is winning. So
won't he do it? Won't he do it?
Ass off. Let's go.
Yeah. We love a good ass off. Cory, this was fantastic and great, man. We definitely appreciate you having you on. When the Saints and the draft passes in April, we might try to get you on for prospect review episode, just breaking down all the Saints draft picks. And so if you're listening to this as a listener of our podcast of SBP, check out Cory Kinnan's work, DAF on Draft, the Substack, the YouTube video, like and subscribe. Cory's work is great. We wouldn't have him on if we weren't a fan and believed in his work. So appreciate you having coming on, man. We enjoyed it. Love a good draft talk, even though it's just November. It was needed for this team, and it gives our listeners like hope and just like, okay, like start like that mind going. So it was a great conversation, man. Definitely loved having you on.
Yeah, appreciate you guys.
Appreciate y'all. Love y'all. Make sure you check out Cory's work. With that, we are out.
Peace.